Why is the jury laughing?
Zero chance of winning the game.
Supposed to talk glamour to you.
My grandmother's sitting home watching Jerry Springer.
Lee, is there any way I could have your jacket?
Welcome back to Survivor Breakfast. We're talking season 44, episode 12, boys. What an absolute nail-biter of an episode. Toast, I need to hear from you first because there was a good chance Carolyn was going home tonight.
I was at the edge of my seat. Honestly, fantastic episode. Really, really happy with the outcome, obviously. I think all three of us are happy with the outcome. I mean, we're looking at a great finale.
I'll say my tidbit in terms of
go ahead, just say it. Yeah, go.
No. From the standpoint of what you're talking about, I do agree. It's the best outcome we could have had for next week, and all the while edited to perfection. I mean, honestly, potentially, like, edited to the most drama intensity that I've ever.
It was great.
That an episode has ever had, at least from the tribal setting. It was esque. It was Game of Thrones-esque. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was like Game of Thrones betrayal.
Honestly, I tend to agree. I thought it was great. I'm thinking of all the different reasons why it could be Carolyn, why it has to be Carolyn, and then all the reasons why it's not. I'm like, they previewed it last week that they all saying Carolyn. It's never the person that they previewed last week. And then I'm like back and forth. I'm like, but this is. I literally said to myself, I go, Jam Jam just said out loud that he's been on the beach with these people for 23 days. The only person that he's been on the beach with for a full 23 days is Carolyn. I'm like, he just slipped it, man. He's voting off Carolyn. I'm like,
well, it wasn't even just that. It was everything that Carson said about a breakup. It was the optics of Carolyn continually looking back and forth and back and forth. It was drama to the max. Yeah. It was drama to the max.
I think Carolyn thought she was going home after all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they were so convincing to the other players that they were convincing Carolyn too, that like they were voting for her. Like, I mean, wow. But
the whole thing was great.
The one thing I will say, I think this almost guarantees, like, the odds of us having a fully Tika finale, I think, is so low.
Whoa, really?
Well, actually, no. That was a dumb statement, actually. I think I disagree with what I just said. I'm going to take back exactly what I just said.
Well, I mean, they really can't be that low because they represent
the majority
of the people.
Yeah.
Well, but this is the thing, though. Is none of them want to be with all.
Carson does.
Carson does.
Carson said it out loud. He's like, I was saying the truth.
I think Carolyn does too.
Yeah, Carolyn does too.
There's no way that Jam Jam doesn't go after Carolyn this next week.
Well, I mean, that is yet to be seen, but it does seem like Carson was honest to us and honest to Jam Jam when he said, when I've been saying the three of us, I've meant it actually. Like, I'm open to hearing your opinion, but I'm actually like, what I've said is the truth. And
I could see Carson though being okay with Jam Jam going.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, yeah, we could speculate all we want. I'm just happy that we made through this, and we will speculate. Obviously, that's the part of the show that I like the best. But we made it through this week, and we've guaranteed, like Kale said, which is very meaningful, I think, that we are in for a great finale. We have all three Tika members. This is the first time all season that they actually constitute a majority. They kind of like said, oh, we're the majority now, but they weren't. There was 3 of 6. Now we're 3 of 5, right? Which is huge. I mean, we've been Team Tika all the way. We're the Team Tika podcast. We've been saying it from day one. And here we are. Reaping what we sow.
I know purple. Is that still your favorite color?
I love purple. I love the color purple.
Next week. We'll wear purple next week. But
yeah,
I'm down. I'll wear purple. No problem.
It actually is crazy to me, though, because I know we were early on the Tika train, but we probably hopped on episode 3-ish, right? If you told me episode 1 or 2 that like of how excited I would be to have all three Tikas in the finale, I'd be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, listen, there's a bunch of different elements to that, right? I mean Carson also was separated by episode 3 or 4 it was. He wasn't even on Tika anymore.
Yeah.
They and there's the element to this, Toast, that we spoke about at length last week. You know, they've developed these three characters to the max.
Yeah.
Whatever the reason it is for, I mean, clearly it's because they're all in the finale. That we can at least admit that, right? And so, like, the storytelling, the drama from just the relationship aspect. I mean, this is what seasons have been lacking for the last couple seasons. It's just like it was potentially going to be just a simple vote out without no idol play, no net anything, and it was going to be if Carson and Jam Jam flipped the switch here, it was going to be crazy.
Yeah.
It was going to be absolutely crazy, but they didn't. And that sets us up for, again, a fantastic finale next week. Now, we'll start to dissect, I'm sure, what the consequences are from these choices that were made.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're going to dissect the multiple Franny cut-tos on in at Tribal.
I've been saying that for 4 weeks now, I think, at least, since she
know.
went home.
I know. All right, so let me ask you this question, because I was going to open up the podcast with this question, because I candidly don't know the answer myself. But do you come away from this episode feeling stronger about Carolyn? I mean,
Yes.
obviously you do, from the standpoint that it's 5. She's 1 of 5 now, not 1 of 6.
Of course,
and
yeah.
she didn't go home. But you feel like noticeably stronger. I mean, but where do you sit?
I mean, to be honest with you, I'm happier. I thought that this episode was the defining feature. I know that last week, Carolyn herself admitted, I didn't need to play my idol, but I still was happy with how it turned out. Last week was a big week for Carolyn. I think this week was a huge week for her for so many different ways, some of which were of her own doing, some of them were not her doing. There's a lot of opportunity here that was created on the sidelines. If you want, can I break down a couple of the things? One,
yeah.
I not to pat myself on the back. I don't think that this was the craziest prediction.
You do a lot of that.
Yeah, and this time I'm going to refrain. But I'll say I'll refrain, but I'll still probably, pat myself on the back. I said last week, and we were all down on her, obviously. This is not a unique take, but I said last week, I think Heidi is most likely to play her idol next week and get no votes. And she did. She opens up this playing field where now, Heidi has this idol. She's now opened herself up as somebody that can be an easy target.
Dude, I just totally blanked and forgot about it for a second, because I was just about to say there's only 4 people to vote for next week. No, she just screwed
herself there
for no reason.
Yeah, now, but that if you're gonna use that as a Carolyn argument, that's
it's an anyone argument, but it's anyone but her, right? It's another person that could be voted for cleanly. And it didn't need to be that way. Heidi could have walked into next episode and said, "I have an idol."
Told Final 4.
Safe.
Brutal.
So I mean, another bad move by Heidi, making it 4 episodes in a row now, where her motivations are I can't really pick them out. It's chaos theory. But I think another thing that was big about this episode was Lauren winning immunity and having it be Jamie the only person that can go home. And I want to just break it down really quickly why I think that way. We've seen Jam Jam, he's won immunity. We've seen Carson win immunity. Of the 3 Tikas, we have to say, based on history, that Carolyn is the least likely to win immunity, right?
Agreed.
Carolyn, therefore, has less ability to take who she wants to the end. She has less of a decision to make.
Okay, to your point, I'm putting her chance at 0 to win immunity for the next 2.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible for her.
It's okay, and I'm okay with that. But what I'm saying is that we really took off the board today a very juicy goat to bring to the end. So now, whereas here we see Lauren as now a reemerged threat, having won 2 immunities, and we look at her, we're like, we need to get rid of Lauren. If Jamie were left in the game right now, it's so tempting to bring Jamie and have one of those spots taken away, potentially that Carolyn could fill by somebody that is not taking away your votes. That's what I'm saying is great.
Jam Jam did come out and say that I don't know if it was just fluff to the camera. It did say
I think it might have been fodder. That's again speculation.
I think so too.
I think that Jamie was a big threat to take a seat that could have been somebody else's.
I would have said that. I would have said that was the case. I think I did say a couple weeks ago. I said she was almost a lock for Final Tribal.
She's the dream person to bring.
Well, no, but her edit was way more high and above than Lauren's has been.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
I mean,
the
her
thing.
confessional count's got to be double, maybe even.
Well, at this point, I'd much rather bring Heidi to the end than Lauren.
No.
Let me land the plane on this thought though. Both of
Go
those
ahead.
things that I mentioned, Carolyn had nothing to do with. She doesn't get to claim any of these things, but it just, I think, sets a path for her a lot cleaner now. And I think one more intangible thing is that Lauren and Jamie went to the table and said, "Hey, listen, I think we could get Carson and Jam Jam to turn on Carolyn." And guess what? That did not work. I don't think that they're going to go back to the drawing board and say, let's try the same two to get the other one out. I think to Carolyn and Carson and say, hey, what do you think about getting Jam Jam out? I mean, it would be a little bit crazy to try to hit on the same nail over and over again. I think that they might try to find a different angle. And if anyone's going to get hit by it, I think Carolyn is now away from the limelight.
Okay, I one thing I want to say about that though is there is a
Yeah, but you also talk. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think there's a big potential that, like, you're saying, like, oh, they're not gonna dip back in the same well and try to go after the same people. But I think there's a high chance that Jam Jam goes to them and is like, we got to get her.
Yeah, that's fine. But does he have Carson's support?
No, he doesn't need Carson's support anymore.
Yeah, you wouldn't need him.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Just get her out.
So, like,
I mean, listen.
Look. I mean, Toast. I hear everything you're saying. One thing before Kale, you hop in here, I just want to say, I do think that I am less confident about Carolyn this week than I was last week.
How?
Toast.
Because
the more you analyze it, she has to win fire, or she has to mistakenly be taken by one of these guys to.
Yeah, but they just made a mistake tonight.
No.
They made a mistake tonight.
But she will not be winning her way into the final tribal.
No.
Well, we're breaking down two things at once. One, we heard Jam Jam say that she made fire until she bled. I don't know about her fire making ability, but if we have anything to
Heidi's
go on,
also been shown to do fire a couple times. They had they had something early in the season with Heidi too.
Agreed.
I think she's involved.
Agreed.
No, they also had a thing.
I'm there.
Jam Jam is also great at making fire. They had a whole
Yeah,
thing
no,
in the
yeah,
first two
yeah,
episodes where like, nobody could make fire, and he came in like 3 seconds flat and made a fire.
Yeah,
but
no, everything we're saying is valid here.
I absolutely do not. I think voting out Carolyn this week absolutely would have been a mistake for Jam Jam and Carson.
I disagree.
I tend to lean towards Sim the more that I think about it, because of her very much lack of any challenge threat. Like she will be on the chopping block these 2 votes again.
No, but also,
all right, Simi, lay out your thought on it.
Okay, let's say that Carson and Jam Jam decide to vote out Carolyn. Okay. Now you have 3 players who all think that you and Carson are the biggest threat. You've basically given yourself a 50-50 chance to go home unless you win the immunity on 5. I mean,
I don't want to
that's it.
I don't want to cut.
You telling me that if
I don't want to cut you short.
That those 3 are not going to vote out.
You're not
Jam Jam or Carson.
You're coming to the table thinking that Heidi is playing this game logically right now, and she's not.
Well, okay, but she's not.
Today,
she's not a
wait,
dumb.
today,
she's not a dumbass.
No, she's not.
To get out
no, she's not.
If they voted out Carolyn,
wait, Simi, why did Heidi play her idol tonight?
Because she has not been secure.
Because Lauren and Jamie have voted for her the past 4 episodes.
The reason she struggled in the last 4 episodes is that she, at the end of the day, has had her mind be 50-50 on 2 things, and she's flipped the wrong way every single time. She has had.
That's low odds.
What?
That's 1 in 16, right? What is that?
What, to continue to do that? Yeah, yeah.
Real low.
No, but what I'm saying is, but the driving force to do that is that she has not been secure in what her thought process has been.
Yeah, because Jamie and Lauren have voted against her for the past 4 times.
She's not in there whimsically, dimsically just doing things.
Whimsically, dimsically. I do like that. I do like
Simsically.
that. But if there's only a Carson and Jam Jam left, Toast, I think.
But Heidi is clearly.
Crazy. I think that's crazy of you to think that those 3 are not
Why?
going to go after one of them, They're so
No, what I'm-
clearly the biggest threats. The only reason, like, I think that this flip flop is going is because she's like, oh, there's multiple threats out there that are, doing this. Like,
Yeah, but we just watched her make a horrible judgment call when if she could have done that and Carolyn goes home and nobody had voted for her, she might still be scorned by the fact that those two girls have voted for her the past 3 times. The fact that she played her idol tonight goes to show.
But Toast, I can't. How is, just put yourself in Jam Jam and Carson's seat. How
Yeah,
can they
sure.
not feel more secure being with Carolyn as a third vote locked in than not? I don't.
Yeah, that
how,
seems crazy.
How can you
I'm not
argue that?
I'm not saying the sense of security is the same. I'm just saying that I don't think that it was a devastating move to have gotten rid of Carolyn now when you know
No,
that
it's definitely
you've
not
been in
devastating because she's a threat. Yes, I'm with you.
They have been voting with Lauren for the past, they said that. They've been voting with Lauren and Jamie for the past 4 votes or whatever. Lauren would have been amenable to getting rid of Heidi next episode. I think that they could have done. You think 0%?
no, but what I'm struggling with here, Toast, is that if you're Carson and Jam Jam, and you decide, say you decide we want to get Carolyn out next week at 5,
Sure.
you're almost guaranteed to vote her out if you want to,
Yeah.
because you
I-
can't win immunity
I
challenge.
get what you're saying. with that.
Unless
You get her
unless
out.
she flips the other 2 against them.
That's
which
what I'm
I don't
saying.
think
So
she's
that'd
going to
be-
do
I think
that.
would be. I think she's
Yeah,
gonna
I think
try, but
I think that's crazy. Again,
I don't think she'll be
the
able to.
one thing that my repeated theme is
Don't
that she
underestimate her. Do not underestimate Carolyn.
She has not done one
Over
thing
Jam
in this
Jam
game
fucking
without
Jam Jam.
either
Come on.
Carson or Jam Jam. She has not done one thing in this game without
Nobody
Carson or
has.
Jam Jam.
Nobody has.
What?
Everything goes through Carson and Jam Jam. We know
Okay.
that. Everyone knows
so-
that.
So,
So you're
then how
yeah.
are you arguing that if Carolyn goes home
This
week, that
time-
they're not the biggest fucking targets?
Wait,
next
but
week?
this time, right? They tried to get Carson and Jam Jam to switch, and they didn't. They didn't get it. That's what I'm saying.
Because
They
they
didn't
didn't
get
need
it.
to. That was Sim's point. Is that they
Why
at the end of the
would
day
they?
made the deduction
So-
that they could
so-
still get Carolyn.
This is a safer decision for
So-
Carson and Jam.
So I think without digging myself too deep into a hole right now, what I would say is that Simi, on paper, I do agree with you that the decision to get rid of Carolyn is easier to make next week than it was this week. I do think, however, that the way that it shook out makes it a little bit less easy to take her out next week. That was why I mentioned the
Why?
multiple intangible things. We have Lauren, who's now on the
Are
table.
you
We have
just saying
Heidi,
because
who
it was?
doesn't.
Are you just saying because it was there for the taking?
It was there
And
for the
we
taking.
don't know now.
It was there for the taking.
But I
And-
still feel like it
I
should
can't-
be there in the same orchestrated fashion. I
I
think.
can't agree with you, Toast.
With what? I opened
that-
the show saying that there's intangibles that now open up a whole world of possibility for
I
Carolyn
don't
to
think
now.
that makes it less likely for them to be able to vote Carolyn out next.
Yeah,
week.
I don't think it changes any dynamic, Toast. They still can do the same thing next week unless she wins immunity, which I think is super low, or she finds the idol.
Did
Yes,
we
the
see-
idol element?
The idol
Right,
element
that-
is big,
Of
sure.
course.
But then
Yeah,
the other
I know
thing, the
elements
other
are-
thing to think about is that there's 2 things to think about. But the first thing to think about is that we saw Jam Jam really struggling with a decision to make. He didn't articulate, at least to the camera, saying this is oh, we'll just get her next week. He was like, this is my game decision right here.
I understand that. Could
This
be
is
an
it.
editing thing, though. They don't want to tell
And that's- and that-
They went for the emotional aspect.
Yes.
Wait, are you making an edit statement here? Or,
Yeah, that was going to lead into the edit statement. The edit statement, it can't be ignored. It's not a gameplay statement, but an edit statement. We heard everybody say, well, we heard Jam Jam specifically say, I'm either going to go with my heart or I'm going to go with my head. And I know I need to go with my head. And he didn't go with his head. And that's an edit-driven perspective.
Yeah, but
It
that
just
was-
seems like
but
they
Toast-
missed the shot. That's
Toast,
it.
but let me just lay this out. I get what you're saying, but to me, I think you're not giving enough credit to the production and the edit team that things do need to be built up for the finale episode as a
Agreed.
whole.
Agreed.
Not
agreed.
everything is pointing towards then she's definitely the winner. You know what I'm saying? They want to build up as much drama as possible.
I agree. It shouldn't be as straightforward, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily straightforward. I think Carolyn has been under the radar for most of the game, but
Well,
but
clearly not anymore. I mean, everybody.
not
talked
anymore.
about it
Everyone did
Yeah,
tonight.
Especially
Everyone.
after her fucking speech at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy too.
Oh,
She
by
was
the way,
so excited
side
to
note.
be
It's
pulling
side
off
note.
a move.
Side note. I thought it was an epic intro into the reward challenge with I think the drone went through and
Yeah.
then did like a flip
Did the whole path?
and then
Yeah.
they did some serious. It was like awesome.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like they're doing so many things right.
Kale, I can get on board with you saying that there is like an element to building up for the finale, which we all agree we're happy about. They have
Yeah.
to build up these three characters
Yeah.
and their interplay, and you know how much emotion is in this and not in it, and you know logic. Like Carolyn was talking about that same dichotomy that everybody has been pinning her on for being too emotional, but she could be logical, you know. And they need to build that up, and I agree with you. But I guess what
And there's
I'm
also
saying,
elements to this too, Toast, where they're also building it up. Not only, you know, maybe then she gets voted out at 5 or 4, but they also build it up to get a Ghost Island situation, which I've reiterated multiple times in this
Which
this
is fine.
season, is that it's a close fucking vote
It's a
at
close
Final
vote.
Tribal.
we
you
know
know?
it's close. We know this is a
Well,
race.
we don't know.
here.
So we don't know. This is what I want. Obviously, we're gonna dive into this a lot for the back portion of speaking about this. But are you of the mindset that the jury as constituted with 2 more people thereafter should be voting no matter who Carolyn's sitting next to? Forget about the edit standpoint. I'm talking about if you're a jury member, you should be voting for Carolyn to win the game.
I think that the people who are continuing, I want to word this correctly. Earlier on in the season, I said that when there were a bunch of people in the game, as was on Tika, there were 6 people on Tika. Everybody thought Carolyn was a joke. As the numbers dwindled and dwindled and dwindled, the people started to realize and catch on. Then we entered the second phase of the game where everybody's on the same beach. There were tons of people. Everybody thought Carolyn was a joke. The numbers dwindled and dwindled and dwindled. I think that what is likely to happen is that the people who end up going to the jury are going to agree with what looks like is the jury's assumption already, that Carolyn is a player of this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the last people to make it to Ponderosa, especially in recent seasons, have had a lot of sway on where everybody votes. And I think that she's trending upwards. She's like a GPA that goes from, you know, you got a 3.3, 3.7, 3, and then you know it's
You
an
had a tough
upward
freshman
trajectory.
year?
I mean it wasn't my best.
No, I wasn't talking about you. I'm talking about this graph that you're talking about had a tough freshman
It's
year.
all about the trend, baby.
Yeah, didn't we all?
It's all
didn't we
about the
all look out
trends.
freshman year? Look, something I want to get into because we're getting to the end of the game here. I want to get into the details, Toast, and really talk about what is Carolyn's path, because she only has 2 options next week
Yeah.
for 5. She either finds
What are-
an immunity idol in the woods,
Yeah.
or she convinces people that Jam Jam or Carson is a bigger threat than she
Well,
is.
no, not necessarily. I mean, Lauren and Heidi could go home too. I mean, listen,
I think it's
Simi, you're saying automatically it's one of those 3, which I agree with that logically it is, but we've seen these players not act rationally.
no.
So
I don't even no. Well, hold on a second. I don't think it's necessarily rational versus irrational. I firmly believe. I think wholeheartedly Carson wants this 3 to be the 3, and I think that he's going to think that he can stake the claim on the 3. Listen,
I brought them there.
But that's
Yeah,
why
that's
either
fine.
Carolyn or Jam Jam is going to successfully should at least.
I don't think Carolyn will. I really don't think Carolyn will.
That's what I'm worried about.
So
This is why I'm more down on her this week than I was.
But we just saw them attempt to do it and it failed. This is
Yeah,
where we're all
but
at.
yeah, but
this
that
is where we're all-
doesn't
opportunity
mean
of
Toast.
next
That
week.
doesn't mean then Carolyn's going to do it herself.
I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm not
No,
saying
but
that
Toast,
that's
also next week is a totally different game than this week. This week you're making the decision with the knowledge that you have that one more week.
Sure, no one's denying that. Another thing that we have to mention is that there's always an advantage at this final 5 for the
I forgot about that.
that's worked.
Yeah.
I think not
Dude, I-
100% of the time,
Dude,
but
Carolyn has been a non-entity.
agreed. No one is. I would be the last person to tell you that she has a chance in it. But we've also messed up with Romeo. We bring it back.
I
to
know.
Romeo.
That's where my head just went to Romeo.
It
And I'm
has
thinking
to.
back to that season. I think
we
Romeo
gave
had a better
Romeo a
chance. I think
Stop.
I'm just saying that now.
You're just saying that now. You're
No,
not.
but Carolyn, I mean, think back to her in the netting of the flip around netting. I mean,
Agreed.
it's been bad.
Okay, but
Nobody
Toast,
is
tell
arguing
me
it's
then,
been
tell me
good.
then, Toast. Not counting the finding an idol in the woods, what's the most likely scenario for Carolyn making it through?
Somebody,
in your
somebody
mind?
get
hold on,
somebody else
What's
gets
the- first
voted
of all,
out,
answer
man.
the first question. Carolyn should be on the chopping block at 5, most likely.
Yes.
I agree. All
Okay.
three of us should agree that yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
agreed.
I just don't know. I don't believe this propaganda.
It's not
that
propaganda.
Heidi is going to, but like there's a
nothing.
difference.
That
There's a
Heidi's gonna do
difference
what? What do you what do you think
There's a
I'm saying
difference,
Heidi's
Toast,
gonna do?
between playing a useless idol and not voting for what everybody on the beach agrees is the biggest threat on the last time that you can really do it.
But she didn't vote for Carolyn this episode, and not everybody agrees that she's the biggest threat.
I mean,
Jamie
it's
Jamie
trending,
went
it's-
home saying that Carson is
Okay,
the
what
biggest
you're
threat.
gonna?
What do you
okay,
mean?
appeal to
regardless
Jamie's?
regardless
She,
of
well, that was her
I-
perception.
Can,
So
I do want to get us on a certain line of thought here, because we honestly we can start to this can get long if we really try to break down. No, I'm being serious. This can get long here. Let me start with this. So Carolyn and we do believe that she should be on the chopping block next week. Carson was the de facto number 2 or number 1, depending on who you talk to, like you just said, of who else could be a big threat. To me, I don't see how Jam Jam goes home at 5. Can you see how Jam Jam goes home at 5?
there can be an
you see
implosion
what happens
aspect
to us?
potentially.
I mean, that's just something out of left field is basically what you're describing there.
Well, let's say Lauren comes up to Carolyn and is like, Jam Jam was saying your name the entire time last vote. Jam Jam
though.
Well, I'm just saying what Lauren could say.
Yeah, but
but Toast, he
easy,
was
'cause
saying
that's so easy to explain away. Where you just go, we're keeping them comfortable, obviously.
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
works 'cause
They-
they voted.
Agreed,
wrong
but
way.
that doesn't necessarily mean that Carolyn is going to interpret it the way that you are so generously
Yeah, but
saying
Carol,
that she
but
will.
candidly, Toast, Carolyn was also doing the same thing with Carson. Told Carson,
I'm
to his
about to
face that,
hop
yeah,
on the offensive. I can't believe that I'm just laying back taking these questions. I need to come up with a question for you guys.
There's no questions. There's no questions to be had.
no
There's no
questions.
questions to be had.
I think it's up right now. I think it is a harder path for Carolyn to get to the finals than it is for Jam Jam.
Yes.
That wasn't what we originally said, by the way. That was not the
What?
original premise
Of what?
of what we said. You said that Carolyn has a lower likelihood of getting to finals now than she did last week. That was what we originally said.
No. What I originally said was I'm less positive. Like I'm
On
less.
Carolyn, yes.
You're lower on Carolyn this week than you were
Yeah.
last week.
than I was.
And I think part of what he's
last
saying
week.
is that Jam Jam has a better path now than Carolyn does.
But
Is part of what
Simi,
he's saying.
just out of curiosity, what could Carolyn have done differently?
No,
Who
there's-
could have
there's
gone
nothing to say
home
that she could have
different?
done differently.
I-
Not
I
talk
think-
about what you did
I think
more.
there's a few-
There's
yeah.
a couple of things.
No, but I'm saying it's inevitable in the case where Carolyn is now in the situation she's in right now. It almost makes it like she was high last week, and if she's still here next week,
Toast,
she's
at the end-
automatically
Toast,
lower.
at the end of the day, we just could dial it back to the idol play. The idol play was bad. It was good to enlighten people, but it was bad timing if she's gonna need it next week.
Fine. But the person who actually won out here in this whole thing, which Kale, you've kind of ticked on a little bit here, but I don't think it's been said enough, is Carson. Carson is the one who
Okay,
held
so-
the vote together.
So one of my other
And
thoughts,
Carson
again,
is coming in next week. Carson's
hold
in the
on,
mix.
Hold on.
But I
One
think
of my-
Carson would
this-
rather be at the end with Carolyn than
This
Jam
is
Jam.
hold on. A
Yeah,
second.
okay, great.
Wait.
Good.
One of the
But
points
Jam
that I
Jam's more
was.
likely to flip.
Oh, am I still here?
Yeah, you're
yeah,
here.
sorry,
You're here.
sorry.
We're just ignoring you. We're no.
No, you're good.
Go ahead.
I'm higher on Carson after this episode than I was otherwise. So
Sure.
that's one.
I agree too.
But at the same token, it needs to be said that the Carson versus Jam Jam, because again, they've been leading the votes, right? Carolyn
Yeah.
has not been leading the votes. At the end of the day,
she's the person that said Jamie before anything happened. Not gonna make it that way, but she is the
there
first
was
person to
only
say
two
we got to go
There
Jamie.
was only Jamie after Lauren
Before
won the thing.
pre challenge. I'm saying.
I mean,
Go. Continue.
That's just loose.
Go.
Anyways, at the end of the day, when Jam and Carson are sitting next to, if they're both are, if one, again, this is all the things I want to talk about too. So I want to lose track of time because I want to situate people at Final Tribal.
Let's situate them. Let's go.
But at the end of the day, those two have led the votes, right? So it's better for Jam for Carson to go home necessarily than Carolyn to go home. I think Jam would like actually for them both to go home, right? I think if we're sitting back logically, both Jam and Carson and Carolyn should all want to go to the end with the other two, correct?
No, but so
Yes.
I'm not necessarily because
why would hold on?
Because
I think it's an undefeated
because if
vote if any one of the Tika are there with the other two people.
But hear me out.
Yeah.
Wait, Simi. But the thing is that if you yourself believe that you can win against anybody, it doesn't matter who you're sitting with. If you are confident,
But Toast, it is never like you're never playing a game of absolutes in that case. You're like, okay, I think I can win against anybody, but I have a better chance against these two. I obviously would rather go with these two than the people who could potentially.
I see that point, but you're also it's not like that simple because you're also now treading the waters with. If I send my two best allies to the jury, are they allies that will vote for me to win, or are they allies that will actually lower my chances to win? We saw it with Cassidy and Carla. They were allies for a large majority of the game. Cassidy sent Carla to the jury, and Carla totally ruined Cassidy's chances. So it's not that easy. It's not that easy.
Okay, but
if you think
let's
that
talk
you're
about
going
the
to win,
specifics then. Let's talk
yeah,
about the
sure.
specifics then.
If you
that
think
relationship
Carson is
also
a
got
person
very
who will vote
bitter
for you.
on the island
It
before
did.
they got voted out.
It got bitter. I'm not saying it didn't, but I think that if you're Jam, and you know how emotional Carolyn is, Carolyn says it out loud. If you send Carolyn to the jury, I don't think that that's an automatic vote for me as Jam to win. That might be you could have sent Heidi there who might have voted for you.
It is over Lauren and Heidi.
It's over
Come on.
Lauren and Heidi.
Well, if you send Heidi there and Heidi is actually going to vote for you, but now Carolyn definitely won't and may sour the jury.
Why is Heidi definitely going to vote for you? I don't.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying that
you're just throwing hypothetical. You can't just say just saying.
This is all hypothetical. There are people that think that they can win against anybody, and if they'd rather go throughout the game without hurting the two people that they have gone there with. If Carson thinks he can win against any human that's on that island,
that is the case. Yes,
then he doesn't care who he brings.
And I agree with you. I think Carson's final three does not matter, and I think he wants it to be the Tika.
That's fine. That's what I'm. So we agree.
Okay.
No. But what I need you to dissect. What I need you to dissect is, again, we could talk about multiple different elements here. But what I need to get out of you is,
I'm assuming you're talking to me still.
Yes, your Carolyn win. To me, is like 85 to 90% edit is where you're deriving this Carolyn win because I don't see it. Other than you making the claim that her edit has pointed towards her winning, she really cannot say much against Carson and Jam at final three. The only thing that I'll even talk against myself. The only thing is if somehow, some way. She does play into this. Yes, I'm more strategic situation. One and two. If she is sitting there with the Tika three, Jam and Carson takes votes away from each other,
which is what we outlined.
But is that your path for Carolyn winning? Because I don't see it otherwise.
I don't. So basically, so. Let me get this straight. You're saying that the only way that Carolyn wins in your mind is if the three Tikas are there,
or it's her and the other two. Which I don't think will be the case.
So any combination of Carolyn and any other Tika is a loss for Carolyn?
Correct.
Okay. I mean,
I've said that last week. I said that last week because I don't. Go ahead.
I get what you've outlined there. I think that they're each going to bring something different to the table. I think that Carson, let's assume that there was a 3 Tika final. Carson is going to say, I left Tika. I integrated myself with the rest of the cast, all of the other castaways. I made myself the middle, and I kept Jam from going against Carolyn, and I kept Carolyn from going against Jam, and I brought the three of us here. That's, I think, Carson. That's his spiel.
Yeah,
we agree.
I wrangled the two feral cats.
I think Carolyn is
first of all, I I think that's
Would
going
you
to
say
get
the
beaten down.
The two feral cats.
I think that argument's going to get beaten down heavily because everybody's just going to probably speak glowingly about Carolyn was not as feral and needed that much taming. And I think Jam Jam's going to be able to speak to his own game himself. So I think Carson's going to lose that battle quick if that's his argument.
I agree. It's like if he starts to
tough.
say, "Oh, I brought 2 goats to the end," in
Well, you
in
can't say
any
that.
way, exactly. If he kind of insinuates in any way that he's had control over those 2 more than he has, I think that would sour the jury to him. Yeah, because I think that I do think that both Jam Jam and Carolyn have been self-evident. I know, Kale, you just said I don't see it for Carolyn, but
No. Well, she clearly is a lot more thoughtful, and everybody recognizes that. I'm not saying that.
Okay,
But
fair.
she still has not done nearly as much in terms of, again, my whole thesis has been she doesn't lead votes. Those other 2 lead votes. That's a fact.
That's fine, but I mean, it's just like it's not even worth discussing at this point the leading votes thing because time and time again, people win Survivor that haven't done that.
But when they're like, if you're going to use the other couple examples,
It's
of
just
these last
not the
couple
argument
seasons,
that she's going to use.
Carolyn's win, if she wins, is mimicking a situation that she's with these other 2, Heidi and Lauren. There's not been a comparable situation where she's sitting next to Jam Jam and Carson.
So sorry, say it again. Repeat what you mean. I missed. Like there hasn't been a season.
You're saying that you're saying that someone hasn't led votes. What you're talking to as examples are these couple past winners that haven't really led votes. Gabler, Marianne, Erica, they haven't really led votes. The bigger people that have led votes have been knocked out, right?
Sure.
So if Carson or Jam Jam is sitting there who have definitively led votes, this Tika thesis
but you're
of them
assuming
playing,
assuming that is what the jury is going to value.
But this is my point.
That's what
too.
you would value. I
If
agree.
Jam Jam or Carson, this is my whole point in what I said earlier. If Jam Jam or Carson is on that jury, they will be able to spell out that the other individual was leading the votes.
On the from the jury.
Yes.
But that means that they have to be okay with the fact that one of them got the other one out. And I'm not denying that that's possible.
I don't think are you of the mindset that there's really going to be a blow up? Like I think they all understand now that they've made it to 5. That
Carolyn looked like a little upset that this was even a discussion.
Of course, but she was also upset with the Franny vote, and she turned it around.
Yes,
But Toast, if Carolyn,
but that was against one of her allies. What'd you say?
But if Carolyn is
on the jury, it doesn't matter anyway.
yeah, exactly. It doesn't.
Why?
Also true to your thesis of her
Because
winning.
you're
talking. Oh,
that you
you're
finish
saying
this.
in a case
Also-
where
also,
you're talking
I don't
about
think it
Carson
matters.
versus Jam Jam right now.
Yeah, but
That's what we're talking about.
I think
No,
out
I'm
of the
talking
three of them-
about everything. Yeah.
out of the
No,
three
but-
of them, I
but
think
in the-
Carolyn's the only one who's likely to be actually
Yes.
upset that
Yes.
that they
Okay.
voted her out.
So if you
Okay.
don't think
And
that
even if
Carson
she-
or
And even if she is,
I actually agree
we
with
know
you. I
that she
think
has a
she
tough
would
time
be the
leading
most
votes.
upset.
Was she going to lead the jury?
I think she's gonna have a big say on the jury if she ends up on the jury. Everyone at the
but-
end of the game, that it's not really even worth discussing too much because we don't know who she's gonna be against or for.
Okay.
We know who Franny's for. We just because we've seen how they've looked at what's going on. We don't know what.
Okay. Yes. But that also is for not if Carolyn's not on in the final 3. So none of that. shit
Agreed.
even
That's
matters.
fine. So you're saying that Jam Jam would be loyal to Carson if Carson were in the final 3 and he was not, and Carson would be loyal to Jam. Did I say that twice?
I guess this is my big thing. Can we just rule out if any of the Tikas are with the other 2, the Tika member wins? Can we rule out those combinations?
Yes.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We just want to cut
So
those out of
then,
the conversation.
the
Yeah.
question.
Okay. Finally, let's find some bedrock here.
All
Let's
right,
find.
listen. So the question remains what I just posed before. The 3 interesting situations is whether it's all 3 Tika or then Jam Jam and Carson, Jam Jam and Carolyn, or Carson and Carolyn. I want to ignore Jam Jam versus Carson for a second because really the bigger thing is between us and you is finding out if Carolyn can beat those 2 at Final Tribal. I don't see it.
So you're saying, but so we're just talking about the one that's interesting, but there does exist a combination where Carolyn is there without those 2. We're
Yes,
choosing to
forget
ignore
about
it.
that.
Because we're saying anyone could do any one of the
if-
Tika could do it. That's why we're kind of just like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all equal.
And I'll give you credit for pointing out her win from the edit and blah blah blah. You'll sing around the praises. You're gonna be in Naples,
I'm gonna
Florida.
look a lot
If anybody
different than
wants
I
to
am right
find
now.
him, he'll probably be at the Mercado in Naples, Florida, singing his
God,
praises
really
for Carolyn.
doxing him out to the people.
It's crazy.
My God.
There's a lot
But
of Team
anyways-
Toast out there, so it's
But
okay.
Anyways,
I'm safe.
the guy's gonna enjoy vacation is the crux of me saying that. But anyways, I need an answer from you. Can Carolyn?
What are you asking?
Can Carolyn beat one of these two individually?
I do think so. Yes, I
How does
actually
that
still
work?
think so.
How does that
Do
work?
you think she beats both of them individually? Or
I
just one
think
of them?
that.
I
I
think it's
think
better
that
for her that they're
Simi-
both there. I think it's better
Yeah,
for them.
Kale, you and I talked about this last time. We agree
No,
they
but
might split
if it's-
votes.
if
But
it's
Simi,
Carolyn
you just-
Carson or Carolyn Jam Jam.
Yeah, Simi, you just scoffed at the idea that Jamie thought that Carson was the #1 threat, and now you're telling me that you don't agree that Carolyn would have a chance against Jam Jam on the jury. I mean, in the final three, if everybody thinks Carolyn was the biggest threat, and now she's there.
No, I don't think they necessarily thought that she was a big threat. I think Carolyn.
They
being
did.
put-
That's
no,
what
Carolyn
that's
being
what we talked about
propagated
earlier.
as Carolyn being propagated as the big threat tonight. I think really truly derived from Jam Jam. I think a lot of them, the holier thought was that Carson was the biggest threat from the group as a whole.
And then
Yeah, yeah.
Jamie was like, "I'll just go with the flow here."
Yes,
But I
But-
think Carson is the biggest threat.
But
I agree.
What I'm worried about, Toast, and I hear what you're saying, that we're making the argument that like she's gonna likely be voted out next week
Because
because
she's a threat.
I want to do. I
and
wanna
then
do
we
like the
can't
thinker.
also make the argument that like they're
Yes,
not gonna
thank
think she's a
you.
threat, except for the fact
Loophole.
loophole
She hasn't let a
is that
vote.
if it's Carolyn versus Jam Jam, I personally think that Jam Jam makes a way better final tribal speech.
Yeah, we've talked about this too. We've
I don't
talked
think
about
it's
this too,
close, Toast.
and we all
That's what I mean. Is like,
But
is
I
like, you
agree
spin
too.
a
We
web,
all agreed.
You know.
Yes. So but Jam Jam, Carolyn, and either Heidi, Lauren as the third. You do think you give her what percentage chance of winning that?
I think it's tight. I'm not denying that it's tight, but I just see I feel like we're undervaluing literally looking at the jury and knowing that people are voting for Carolyn. We can look at the jury.
I'm disagreeing with that.
How?
Toast, because first of all, what I really think you've severely underestimated is that Jam Jam's edit this entire season
has been good.
Has been great. Not good. Has been great.
But Kale,
Has
this
been
episode,
great.
this episode he lost in the edit.
No.
Yes,
not
he did.
necessarily.
He did in the edit this week.
Toast,
he did.
but that's what I was trying to.
No, but Toast. I
He
don't
did.
think
He
it's a
did
loss.
lose in the
Toast,
edit.
all
yeah.
that can really
he did.
point to is that it ends up being a 5-4 vote at Final Tribal, and
He's-
he beats Carolyn, and they needed to prop her up a bit. That's
But
all that is.
In this vote, with what we know right now, in this episode, with what the information we have at our disposal, Jam Jam made the wrong decision. And Simi, you could say, no, it was a great decision. But what Jam Jam said to the camera was, I need to get rid of Carolyn. I need to make the vote with my head. And he ended up making the vote with his heart.
That's just you, I think, overthinking.
That's what
the
happened.
Edit. No, that's you
It's not- it's-
overthinking the
No,
edit.
but
And
Toast
there's-
is saying that's the story that they are telling.
I understand that, but that could mean multiple different things, Sim.
Agreed.
What we're forgetting about is that I still, unless she finds an immunity idol in the woods, I don't.
You don't see a
her
way
not
that she
get-
can get there.
Yes,
I am
that's
struggling
been his
to-
biggest
I'm
point. That's been
struggling
his
to
biggest
find that.
point. Yeah,
So who do you think that of the three Tika, we know for a fact that Jam Jam thinks that Carolyn is a bigger threat than Carson, or at least we can assume that.
correct.
Sure, yeah.
Who does Carolyn think is a bigger threat of the two?
I
Does
don't
that
think she
play in at
cares.
all?
She hasn't
think-
said.
I think that she. It seems like she had that comment, which makes me think that she wants Carson with her more.
Yes.
My baby.
No, but she also said I
don't
need
know
him for
if that
one
mean-
more
I don't
week.
know if that. I don't know if that means anything though. To be
No,
honest,
said-
I
I
don't.
don't know, but I think she feels more of a motherly connection. To
Oh, yeah,
Carson
yeah,
than-
But she said I need him for one more week. I need him for one more week. That sounds bad. I'm sorry, but it's true. She did say that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who she thinks is more of a threat, to be totally honest with you. Between the
If
two.
I had to guess based on what she said, I would have guessed that she thinks that Carson is a bigger threat than Jam Jam.
Yeah, I agree with that statement too.
I don't know. I think it's close.
And then
but I could be
if
split either way on
Carson
that one.
then thinks that If Carson then thinks that Jam Jam is a bigger
Is a
threat
bigger
than
threat.
Carolyn,
I don't think Carson
that's
thinks,
a
and
that's
it's
a
gonna be his,
beautiful
I
triangle.
don't think Carson thinks that either of them are.
I
That's
think
his
if
whole
Carson,
list. That's-
okay, that's fair,
If-
Kale.
if
but
he
I
had to
think
say.
if Carson had to pick who he thought was a bigger threat, I think he would pick Jam
Jam
Jam's a
Jam,
bigger threat
yes.
than his game.
which means that each one of them thinks a different one is the biggest threat.
But I think
which would then mean you would default to the other two individuals who do they believe is the bigger threat.
Yeah.
And
And who
I
do-
think they
is the
lean
bigger
Carson.
threat?
You think they lean Carson?
Yeah, dude, I'm telling
So
you.
then
I re-
Carolyn gets
dude,
through.
No, I'm with
Next
you
week.
on that. I'm with you
Oh,
on that.
I-
I
you've
think,
been-
I
you've
think
been with
Jam-
me?
Jam Jam's
No. I
more
think Jam Jam and
able.
Carson. I think Jam Jam and Carolyn are going to be seating at Final Tribal.
Okay, listen to me.
That's what I
listen
think.
to me.
Okay, Kale, wait.
I
Sorry.
think-
Wait, Simi, really
I
quick.
think it's Jam
I'm
Jam
sorry.
Carson.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. What I need to now get is, because maybe I've been lost. I feel like I've been in the hot seat the whole time. But Kale, what you're saying is Carolyn actually does have a decent chance to get through because they're going to identify Carson as a bigger threat than her.
I think they can. I think that could be the case. I think
Okay.
Carolyn will not be safe. I think Carson might be safe at 5. So that Carson has about a million chance better of being safe at
Yes.
5
Basically,
than
Agreed.
Carson and Lauren, who
What?
have a chance of winning.
I mean, Jam Jam won too.
No, Heidi's been okay.
Heidi's
been
won
okay.
too,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I guess.
No,
so, I
Jamie
guess.
getting knocked was good for Carolyn because Jamie's been just as horrendous as
Agreed.
Carolyn at
Agreed.
the immunity challenges.
I was the first to say it. I agree.
But
Yeah, it's
Carolyn
great
has no
that
chance.
Jamie's
And
gone.
and if you saw in the preview, it's like a monster fucking thing. Carolyn's gonna be stuck at the first rung. I'm sorry. I love her. I love her as a
fine.
character. She's really struggled in the immunity challenges. Either way, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be Jam Jam, Carolyn, Heidi at the final 3. Now this is the big statement that we're getting to here at this point.
Yeah.
And
that's
Jam
fine.
Jam will beat Carolyn. And I think it will be close. I've said this the entire time. It's been my Ghost Island comparison this entire season. And I think Jam Jam's going to edge it out at the end of the day.
But the thing with the Ghost Island thing, as you brought it up initially, was that Jam Jam is getting painted more as the Dom of the two, more villainous.
No.
That was what you originally said when you were like, I see the Ghost Island thing, and you were like, Dom had
No, it was
some
Danny.
duplicity
It was
to him.
Danny.
You're right. It was Danny.
I talked about
I already
Danny.
forgot about
yeah,
Danny.
yeah,
Alright.
Oh,
Danny
okay. So
was the
so
villain.
now this is a
Kale,
different Ghost Island
You think
thing.
Kale?
No, I've said Ghost Island this entire time, saying that at the end of the day we could have one of those
Two
votes,
big
which
threats.
we haven't had in a
two
long
big
time.
two big threats and then one.
Okay,
Correct. We haven't
let's
had
get
that.
back
One
to
laurel.
to the core here. Kale believes that final 3 will be Jam Jam, Carolyn, Heidi, and
Correct.
Jam Jam will win the game. Toast. Who is your final 3?
Dude, I would take the same thing and say Carolyn wins. Honestly.
Okay, I'm different. I think it's more likely to be Jam Jam, Carson.
And that goes with your theory that Carolyn is very
Simi,
vulnerable.
Can I also just say
I actually think it's more likely to be Jam Jam,
Simi,
Carson.
your loyalty
Lauren.
wavers so much.
No,
episode
no,
to episode.
Toast.
You said Carolyn last episode. Now Carolyn's not even in the
Because
picture.
he believed that she's become a lot more vulnerable. Why can't that be
But
the case for the guy?
It's fine, but it's a
Jonathan,
loyalty problem,
I am
and
a
it's
man.
a problem.
No. I am a man who has strong beliefs loosely held. If I see new data, I switch. Okay.
But like, you gotta be rooting for the home team at some point. You're not just watching because you want to watch.
No.
Wait, yes, he is. First of all, it's a show. What the
I'm
fuck?
the most.
But you
I'm
gotta
the most
root for
honest-
the home team.
I'm the most honest host here. I
You
say
are.
what I believe,
Yeah,
and
that's fine.
and
And I do too.
the show can change my mind.
Or did I lie? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you've got when you both of you get locked
I
on
get
ideas,
into it.
and then you get biases that you can't get. You get
To be
caught
honest
in
with
the
you,
rut.
though, interestingly though, I really tried to watch this episode through a Jam lens.
No,
'Cause
you
Kale,
did not.
I did.
Dude, there
I
is
did.
not.
I
There is not
did.
a chance in hell, bro.
I did.
Because, bro,
I
if
did.
but I need you to answer this question then, if that's the case, because if you say Carolyn's edit this entire season has been a 10 out of 10 for pointing towards a winner's edit, what
9
has
out
Jam
of 10.
Jam's been?
9 out of 10.
They both have winners edits.
No.
yes.
Can't say anything
You-
different.
Well,
And so does
I'll-
Carson.
in this
No,
episode, though,
Tika.
in this episode, Carolyn's edit was better than Jam Jam's.
But That's only if the conclusion is that Carolyn
And
wins
it is.
the game.
And it is that. And it is.
Dude, you
Okay.
are just being a blind eye biased to the
I'm
fact
all in.
that like when
Shove.
we're sitting here, when they're reading the votes, Jam, Carolyn, Jam, Carolyn, and we're on the edge of our fucking
And
seat.
one
Yeah.
Heidi.
No. And we're at the edge of our seat, and then they read that Jam is that final vote, and he wins. You're still just as satisfied with the entirety of the season because
I am.
Carolyn was propped up to the way that she should have been.
If Jam wins, you're saying?
Yes,
Would I be
but Carolyn
satisfied?
loses by a vote. It would have been edited perfectly.
I would love it. I would love it. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
but
you're not wrong. But now here's a different question actually. Of the people that are left that are not Tika, we said Lauren has a non-zero chance. Are we at the point in the season where if Lauren does win, we are upset? Like we are outraged?
I won't be.
Lauren will be
Livid,
there with one
but
of the
I'll be
Tika
upset.
members. They both have to beat one of the Tika members. Yes, I would be outraged.
I would
I
be-
don't
I
I
would
don't
be
see how
Yeah,
that's
because
possible.
our latent assumption this entire time has been that a Tika member will win no matter what the
Well,
scenario
a
is.
Tika member will be at Final Tribal now.
Therefore, a
What this is
Tika
confirmed.
member will win.
If a Tika
Yes.
member does not win, I like.
You boycott.
Toast, I don't even think that's debatable, dude.
Agreed.
I'll
don't,
go
Agreed.
there- I'll go
I'm not
on here
debating it.
for an
I'm-
hour by myself
with you.
and say how dumb and bad I am at talking about Survivor. If a
well,
Tika
it's
doesn't
not
win.
it's not even that. I can't.
You don't see it shaking out. There's no way that Lauren can scrap together the votes.
Heidi, it's only Lauren because I don't know what Heidi says, right?
I don't know what she says either.
So Lauren says what? That I won 3 immunities. I was the last member of Ratu. Like this, that, and the other thing.
I'm gonna
there's
be honest,
no
boys.
chance, dude.
It's not even worth discussing because from purely a meta perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
from an
too.
edit-driven
Producers
perspective, it
and
can.
Jeff have both said before the season that this was like their favorite season in the last 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
There's no way a Tika doesn't win.
Yeah,
There's no way.
that's meta. That's meta squared. That's the
It's
meta
squared,
of how
but
they're.
to me
interpreting it.
it's a meta
Good.
lock is what it is.
Good.
I think the audience is very clear on where we stand here. I want anybody watching, please get down in the comments. Let us know who your final 3 is, who your winner pick is. If you disagree with any of the takes we've taken here, if you think it's Heidi or Lauren, let us know. Give us the rundown.
Wait,
Tell
are
us
you
what we're
concluding
missing.
the episode right now for a second?
Yeah, what else is there to talk
Oh,
about?
whoa, no, I'm not done. Hold on a second. You haven't even said
He
your
does
winner
this every
pick.
time.
You didn't even say your winner pick.
Carson.
No.
No.
It's Jam.
Yeah, he didn't even say his winner pick. He didn't even say his winner pick.
I don't even know. It doesn't matter because Simi's not loyal to his winner. It doesn't matter.
That does not. No.
Is this the first time that you
I'm a
said
data
Jam
man.
Jam?
Yes.
What? The first time
This is
I
the-
voted for Jam?
Yeah.
No. I picked Jam.
This is a big. First of all, this is a big one too. By the way, this is the
Yeah,
last
it's a
one.
big one. This is the last
This
one.
is the one that matters.
You're putting
Yeah,
your stake
it
in
is.
the ground. Yes, it does matter. Yes,
this
Simi.
is the one that matters. And
It's
I'm
taken you
saying
52
I think
minutes to
Jam
realize
wins
yes.
the game. I think Jam wins the game.
But your thesis, Sim, is mostly because
I think that
you view
gets
Carolyn
beat out
as
at
the
5.
bigger threat, and she is way more vulnerable in your eyes than.
Not
than Jam.
only that, I think that Jam is way more capable of convincing
Yeah.
Lauren and Heidi that Carolyn needs to go.
Which adds to her vulnerability next week.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I just wanted to I wanted to lay out also just real quick, like the way that we would want this to shake out is that because I just want we didn't really get to dissect how fire making works into the picture here, because if I'm saying it's gonna be Carolyn, Jam, Heidi, I think
Carolyn
Heidi
needs
is
to
in
win
fire
five.
making against Carson is the only way how that works out, meaning Lauren gets voted out at 5.
No. Why couldn't it be Lauren versus Heidi in fire making?
Why would it shape out to be that?
You're right.
Why
you're
would
right,
Carolyn
you're
and or
right,
Jam
you're right.
Jam? Why would Carolyn or Jam bring
they'd put
the other person?
They would
in?
put the other one in.
You're absolutely.
Can I bring up one more subtle point within this episode? There was
You're just
It's
you're just ignoring my dissection there.
well, the dissection I agree with is that there are going to be at least one Tika in fire.
I guess I was posing this out though because can we see Lauren being the vote at this 5?
Yeah, of course. Why not? I think so.
You that would mean the Tika 3 would still have to kind of ride strong here, which I don't know.
Does that mean one of the Tika wins immunity? Like Jam Jam wins immunity, and then Carson and Carolyn decide not to.
Simi, you said right away that
candidly, Sim, I think that's the only way it happens because I do think
so too.
I think Jam Jam is going to be wanting to flip if he's on the chopping block.
But
if he's not on the chopping block, I don't think he's going to care as much, and the other two are not going to flip on each other.
The other thing,
I think if he has immunity, I think he still flips. Though I think he still flips.
Wait, but what I'm saying though, Simi, is that this is something that we talked about really early on, and it hasn't been brought up. I think. No, he's not. I'm not going to get him to flip. But if you're Lauren here, and Jam Jam came up to you last episode saying, "We have to get Carolyn out. We have to get Carolyn out. We have to get Carolyn out." And if you're Jamie and you had that interaction with Jam Jam when Jam Jam was like, "Everybody who voted for me is on the jury. You better not lie to me," and was like very kind of like bullying to her. I don't know if Lauren is really open to the Jam Jam persuasion right now. I really don't. I don't think that door is not as open.
Toast, you're ignoring the ability or the longing of Carson and Carolyn to vote for Jam Jam. Those two have not yet once said they want to vote for Jam Jam.
But they also don't want to vote for each other.
No. I understand that, but there's more of a likelihood that they stick together in those two eyes than Jam Jam going home by their doing, is what I'm saying. I think the only way a Tika member is taken out is by Jam Jam's doing. Otherwise, it's not happening.
I think it's likely. Yeah.
But we did have that. I mean, we already touched on it, but we did have Carolyn saying, "I need Carson until next week."
No, I'm with that too. But like, so
much can happen.
Are you advocating a Carolyn leading a flip against Carson? Are you advocating that?
Would be crazy, and I
think that would be game breaking.
That would be game breaking, and it's not like it's impossible. It's just because people were saying
low likelihood.
Well, if Lauren and Heidi happen to have the opinion that Carson is the most likely is the most likely to win, it's not that unlikely.
Yeah.
That would be Kale, would you? I mean, we would come on the air and talk about it, obviously. Would that do it for you? Would that do it for you?
If Carolyn flipped Carson out?
Yes.
But Toast, in that scenario, let's run that out. I don't think in that scenario there's a chance that Jam Jam and Carolyn are in the
They don't need to be
the final three together.
Okay, they don't need to be. And why not?
Because
one of them will be
Carolyn can't win an immunity challenge. And then it's a 2 to 3 odds that a non-Tika.
So in that scenario, you're saying
Carolyn picks the other.
So you're saying Carolyn and Jam Jam in fire, if Jam Jam doesn't win that immunity, which would also be epic.
If Carson goes home at 5, I think.
Would you be satisfied with that, Kale? Would you be satisfied with an internal Tika flip?
At this point, I need to see Jam Jam Carolyn at final. At this point.
That's specific. Yeah, he needs
good
it.
Season.
No. I'm saying for my highest level of satisfaction, those are the two I want to see at final trial.
In my perfect world, both of those people are in the finale.
Who?
Yeah.
Jam Jam and Carolyn. I don't see a path where they're both in the finale.
Okay. All right. So I think I understand your perspective on it. You're saying that would be the most interesting for you, but you don't see Carolyn's path forward, even though we think that maybe people think that Carson is a bigger threat than her, potentially. Or at least Kale and I do.
Yeah, but because, I mean, for the double reason of, I think she's likely to get voted out at 5, and even if she doesn't, I think she's likely to be in fire against Jam Jam at that point, and I think Jam Jam beats her in fire.
Well, we can't make that prediction.
I know, but that's my guess.
Yeah. I would love to see any of these things. That's the beauty of it. I would be.
Well, that's the beauty of this season.
Kale, in the low light outcome that you're dreading, which I'm not, air quotes, obviously, we have, in the worst possible case, we have Tika turning on Tika the first vote, Tika versus Tika in fire in the second vote, and then one Tika winning against two people.
Sweeps the final
That's
vote.
the worst. Think about that. That's the
And
worst
that's
case
not a
scenario.
bad scenario.
That's the
That's
worst
good.
that we can imagine right
No,
now.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. Again, I think Simi's situation has credence from the standpoint that, again, I don't mean to beat a dead horse. And there's also, I do want to make one comment on Jamie too. I think you guys were too mean to Jamie throughout the season. I really do.
The edit was.
No, it really wasn't that bad. She was just fun loving. Gosh darn it.
I'm gonna be the one to say it. Not just the edit. She's a bad player.
Oh, there we go.
She was.
I don't
wasn't
think she
great.
was that bad. I
She
really
wasn't
don't think
great.
she was that bad.
Yeah, she
but
was not good.
But anyways, at the end of the day, I think Simi's point. I think Simi's point has credence, and not to beat it from a dead horse. I do love Caroline as a player. I can't say enough that she has zero chance in both these immunity challenges. So unless she finds that idol, she will either be on the block to be in fire at 4, or she'll be out. On the block and out or not out.
Though, if she gets an idol, her odds go up significantly.
Of course.
Obviously.
Yeah, well, obviously.
You know what I mean?
That's obvious.
That's the wrench.
Well, yeah, I mean that's obvious. That's obvious for all 3 Tika. I wouldn't say the same for Lauren getting it would be interesting. But Heidi, we don't even know. I mean, she'll play it, but she won't have any votes against her.
All right. I feel
listen. I hope that this episode. Listen, I'm talking to you, GR. I hope that this episode flipped you. Team Toast is not where you want to reside. It's really not where you want to reside.
This episode of the show or the episode of the podcast?
The episode of the podcast, the show,
oh
everything.
Oh my god.
So listen, and Kate, we love you too. So thank you guys both for continuing to comment and interact with us. But GR, please flip Team Kale.
He's a Caroline guy. We're good. We're locked. We're in lockstep.
We'll see. We will see next week. I know I say it every week, but I cannot express how excited I am to see this finale next week.
I'm telling you, final top 5 season all time. Can you guys get on that wavelength?
It depends on the finale.
If it ends the way
if it's Carolyn Jam in the final, I'm a lock.
I feel like Toast. That's a harder claim to make in your eyes, and I feel like I'm making it right. But I'm being sincere when I say that I think it could be top 5.
What's getting booted out of your top 5 that this is replacing?
There's so many.
Up there is Heroes, Villains, China, and Kage-an. I love Game Changers I'm not Game Changers. I love Second Chances as well.
Micronesia, China.
I think.
All right.
Okay. Well, I think the audience knows where we stand. If you guys are watching up, all the way to this end of the hour-long episode, get down in the comments. Tell us who your final 3 is, who your winner pick is. Tell us which of the hosts you think is an absolute fool, a buffoon.
Yeah.
Last week we asked for your favorite host. This week we're asking, who do you think's an idiot?
I'm not asking that. I don't want that answer.
No, I'm asking that, and the audience has to answer because I'm asking it. If you guys are on YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Like I said, get down in those comments. I absolutely cannot wait.
This has been fun.
Itching to get to this finale. It's been a pleasure talking with you boys this season. It's been an absolute banger of a season.
It's revitalization. Revitalization.
Let's hope
the
every
Renaissance
season after this is even better. And I'll see you boys next week at the finale. Peace.